Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
It's a trend that is going in the right direction, but it just isn't happening fast enough. Today, Michigan lost another 153 people to the coronavirus. And as that happens, thousands descend on Lansing, demanding Governor Whitmer reopen more of the state before businesses are forced to stay closed for good. From the beginning, Mayor Duggan has said the number of patients at the TCF Center Field Hospital will be the mark of how well Detroit handles the crisis.
Right now, there are 16 people being treated there. Here are today's big headlines. To date, there have been 28,059 cases of COVID-19 and 1,921 deaths. Also today, the Detroit Medical Center announced 480 employees would be furloughed. We'll have much more on that in just a few moments.
A short time ago, Mayor Duggan painted a rather bleak picture of what is happening inside Detroit nursing homes. But we're going to begin with the massive protest in Lansing demanding Governor Whitmer end her strict stay-at-home orders. Rod Maloney in Lansing tonight with the story and the governor's reaction we heard a short time ago. Rod?
Yeah, Devin, this was supposed to go from noon until 2 p.m. Take a look behind me here. They are still lining the streets. They are still blaring the horns, many with signs saying that essentially liberty and the governor's executive order have little to do with each other. Horns blared as many draped themselves in the flag. Others waved flags from the roofs of their vehicles. There were boat trailers and business vehicles. The drone video from the Conservative Coalition, which organized this rally, shows a traffic jam like few here have seen at the Capitol. Organizer Matt Seeley wanted the governor to know.
This is government overreach on steroids, and we've got to get back to just following the Bill of Rights, and people need to understand that an executive order is not the law.
Tracy Cross of White Cloud drove 2 hours to be here.
We want to end tyranny. We're tired of hearing the fear. We understand, we're sympathetic to people that do catch the virus and have the virus, but it should not stop the economy. It should not stop people's lives from going forward,
Donna Coor of St. Clair employs 300 people, had to lay some of them off, and is deeply concerned about Michigan business.
We're afraid that another 2 or 3 more weeks is going to be devastating, and a lot of good people are going to be put out on the streets because their businesses are going to.
The governor so far is standing by her order.
I support your right to free speech, and I respect your opinions. I just urge you, don't put yourself at risk, and don't put others at risk either. I was really disappointed to see people congregating, not wearing masks. I saw someone handing out candy to little kids, barehanded. We know that this rally endangered people. We're all in this together. I'm the governor for all 10 million people of this state, whether you support all of the policies that I've championed or not. And we've got to all do our part.
Well, I really can't hear myself think here, Devin, but here is the bottom line. This went national. The governor was on national television today. Coming up on Local 4 News at 6, we'll take a look at that and what that all means as the state goes forward. Reporting live from Lansing, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Okay, Rod. Well, a good news, bad news situation is unfolding tonight in the city of Detroit.
With an update a short time ago, Mayor Duggan said the numbers are trending in the right direction overall, but there's a big issue unfolding inside the city's nursing homes. Let's get to that part of the story with Victor Williams live tonight. Victor, he says 30% of residents tested in nursing homes, 30% are coming back positive.
Yeah, that's a really big number, and all of these numbers are really sad. Just today, 45 people alone died as a result of this COVID-19 virus, bringing Detroit's death toll all the way up to 469. But despite all of this, the mayor is saying that things are still heading in the right direction.
The loss of life is personal to us. Detroit is a big, small town.
The number of COVID-19 cases and deaths are continuously on the rise.
7,141 cases and 469 deaths.
Especially in nursing homes.
35% of everybody we've tested has been positive. We have a crisis in the nursing homes. I know it's true around the country.
But despite the sad numbers, at least they're not as high as usual. Fewer people are in the hospitals and fewer people are on ventilators.
Our data now shows that we are seeing fewer new cases. However, I still urge caution.
And another stat showing the virus is possibly on the downswing was info on the TCF Center.
At TCF Field Hospital, after 6 days of operation, has 16 patients. And I have said from the beginning, if this city is disciplined about social distancing, we won't need 1,000 beds there. We can hold it down to 200 or 250 beds.
And the city is hoping to test at least 2,000 people next week, especially those in the nursing homes. The mayor also went on record today saying that all the full-time employees of the city, they will still keep their health care benefits throughout this pandemic. Reporting on the east side, Victor Williams, Local 4.
Okay, Victor, the mayor has been holding these updates each afternoon, by the way, and we do live stream them. You can watch them on the Click on Detroit app. Right now, Metro Detroit hospital systems are finding themselves in the middle of a very difficult situation.
Yeah, they really are, Devin. It's leading to layoffs and furloughs for medical workers, and that now includes the DMC. Larry Spruill is live tonight with the hospital's decision to furlough 480 workers, Larry.
And Kimberly, it says that it was a tough decision, but it was something they had to do in light of what's going on with the coronavirus. They had to furlough hundreds of employees here until things start to get back to normal. 480 employees here at Detroit Medical Center got the news they did not want to hear. Detroit Medical Center is furloughing those employees due to tough situations at the hospital because of the coronavirus. Hospital leaders say with stay-at-home orders and government restrictions on elective procedures, some hospital employees not related to COVID-19 crisis or other critical patient care needs have been temporarily closed or ramped down. The hospital released this statement Wednesday, saying in part, "We have taken steps to divert additional resources to COVID-19 care and other urgent medical procedures that cannot be deferred. This includes reducing costs and hours worked and implementing furloughs of certain jobs where needed." But there is somewhat good news in all of this. The hospital also stated, "We are providing all furloughed employees with medical benefits, support consistent with their elections at no cost to them." Now, the big question is, how long will this furlough last? And as of right now, no one seems to have that answer. The hospital is hoping the staff members impacted can return back to work once things get back to normal. They ended the statement with this: "We remain appropriately staffed to provide our full support to treat patients in Greater Detroit." And I did ask to speak to someone here at the hospital on camera, but they declined. We are live at Receiving Hospital in downtown Detroit tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
Absolutely fascinating. All right, Larry. Now, new reports say federal officials have laid out a new strategy that could mean reopening parts of the economy later than President Trump wants. Alice Barr in Washington tonight as there's more controversy over the status of stimulus checks and the president's freeze in funding to the World Health Organization. Alice?
Devin, in the push and pull over when and how to reopen the U.S. economy, new reporting today shows top federal officials are advising against any states reopening before May 1st, though President Trump has suggested some could.
As states cautiously move toward reopening their paralyzed economies, there's new reporting today that FEMA and the CDC have created a public health strategy to guide a safe reopening, including ramping up production of testing kits and protective gear. The new guidelines obtained by the Washington Post specify that states should not reopen before May 1st. President Trump says he thinks some could open sooner, though he'll leave the timing and approach up to each governor.
We don't want to put pressure on anybody.
Top health official Dr. Anthony Fauci says there will be more cases as states reopen and will need to respond quickly.
Identify, isolate, get out of circulation, and do adequate and appropriate contact tracing as new cases arise.
On the economic front, millions of Americans have started receiving direct deposit stimulus payments. And for those receiving checks, we now know President Trump's name will be printed on them in an unprecedented and controversial move. Internationally, backlash today to President Trump's decision to halt funding to the World Health Organization.
It is a kind of ludicrous decision in the middle of a pandemic.
The president is demanding a review of how the WHO responded to the initial coronavirus outbreak, accusing the body of being too trusting of China and covering up mistakes. The WHO chief saying today any review should wait until the danger has passed.
My focus is on stopping this virus and saving lives.
Congressional Democrats are disputing whether the president has the power to unilaterally freeze hundreds of millions of dollars in approved funding.
Democrats are under fire for refusing to approve more money for a small business program that could run out of funding by the end of today. Democratic leaders saying they won't sign off without more money for hospitals and state and local governments. In Washington, Alice Barr, Local 4.
Okay, Alice, and stocks finished lower today after weak economic data and earnings weighed on the market throughout trading. The Dow dropped 445 points and the S&P 500 fell 2%. It was the worst session for both indexes since April 1st. The Nasdaq broke a 4-day winning streak, finishing down 1.4%.
Want to invite you to be with us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. as Michigan's two senators, Debbie Stabenow and Gary Peters, will answer your questions on the coronavirus pandemic. It's a live town hall made possible by a partnership between the Detroit television stations. I'll be joined by Hugh Perkins and Carolyn Clifford for our second town hall event. You can continue to submit your questions for the senators. You can do that through clickondetroit.com.
Selfridge Air National Guard Base will not be the new home of the F-35 fighter jet. The Department of Defense today made the announcement. Madison, Wisconsin will host the squadron of fighter jets as well as a unit based in Montgomery, Alabama. Both will join active duty bases in Alaska, Utah, and the UK, and the National Guard unit in Burlington, Vermont, as the only sites yet to host the $90 million jets. They are expected to arrive in the year 2023.
All right, we've got much more to come on this Wednesday. Here's Ben.
Devin and Kim, we picked up over an inch of snow at Metro Airport today, and we may see more before the week is done. A very wintry forecast is coming your way next.
Another death connected to Rivergate Nursing Home in Riverview.
It's uncalled for. If they would have done something sooner, my mom would probably still be here.
She lost her mom early this morning tonight. She's demanding answers from the nursing home.
You've probably seen video of drive-up testing, but now mobile testing going to where it's needed. 3 groups coming together to help first responders where it's needed most.
And how are we really doing when it comes to flattening the curve? And realistically, how close are we to loosening any of the restrictions? I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. We'll talk to a local researcher behind one of the models to find out what needs to happen first.